Hey everybody, it's Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. We are going to be talking about WGI percussion tonight. Welcome to Marching Arts Now, our winter 2022 edition. We are going to be having so much fun. We have some special guests. First off, I want to bring in co-host for the evening, Laura Zakazenski. How are you, Laura?
Hi, I'm doing great.
So glad that you're here. Everybody, we're going to be talking about drumline stuff. We have some clips to show. I have a fantastic interview. Well, I think it's I have an interview I really like with Shane Gualtney from Music City Mystique. So you guys want to hear about that? He talks about the show, gives you some insider tips. And also with us tonight is Dawson Leffingwell. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Good to be here.
Dawson is here because he's been watching a ton of shows. We picked out some that he really likes that we're going to talk about. We're going to show some clips. We're all going to talk about what we like, that whole thing. So Dawson, thanks for being here.
Of course.
All right, so we'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, so Laura, WGI Percussion, we're having it. The season is underway. How exciting is it to be back?
It's so incredibly exciting. I've been with United Percussion since 2020, and 2020 was the first season of world-class indoor percussion for me. And it was just devastating when everything got shut down. And we went through a virtual season in 2021 to kind of keep everybody in the loop, and it's wonderful to be back in person.
Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself. You're going to be, listen, everybody, if you're catching this for the first time, we're going live on Tuesdays, and then the recording is always up. You can find it at the Marching Roundtable YouTube channel or at Marching Arts Education at our website. If you're watching live, please comment, tell us where you're watching, and ask some questions. So, Laura, tell us about yourself. You said you're marching with United Percussion. What do you do there?
At United Percussion, I am in the front ensemble. I've been marching vibraphone for the past 2 or 3 years. I have just graduated with a degree at Westchester University in music education as a clarinet major. So not a percussion major, but I like to say that I live a double music life.
Wow, that's very cool. So clarinet and percussion.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So and you're doing vibraphone again this season?
Yep.
That is so cool. So I have all kinds of vibraphone questions, but I don't know if that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Maybe next time. But everybody, if you're watching this, it's Marching Arts Now. 1 week it's color guard. The next week it's percussion. This is percussion week. So Laura, we have a clip from United Percussion. You want to set this up? Do you want to say anything about it?
So our show this season it's entitled The World is Watching. So basically the idea that in media and on the news and everything, the world is always watching, these important historical events. There's cameras everywhere, on our phones, on our computers, always watching. So we kind of go through different ideas. We have spotlights on our heads, there's screens, there's cameras live broadcasting us playing on the screens, which has been really cool to play around with. And we actually document some important recent historical events that have happened that have kind of brought the world together in solace. And the theme from there is the hope that we can take from those events.
Very good. So everybody, we are here talking about WGI Percussion. I have an interview with Shane Gualtney of Music City Mystique coming up right after this. And Dawson Leffingwell is here to talk about shows too. So we're going to have a lot of fun. First, let's watch this clip from United Percussion. Right. Wow. Very cool. Like there's drums in the gym and a great performance. And you have the lights on you mentioned this, but you have the lights on your head. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that was an idea that we had back in 2020 with our searching theme, searching spotlights, that sort of thing. But the design team thought it would be cool to incorporate them again, just with watching and everything. So it's been really cool. As you can see, there's lots of props, lots of lights, lots of screens, like everything. It was a super great feeling when we got on the floor and set up all of our stuff, and the lights turned on. The crowd was just, ooh, ah.
That's
Lots of
awesome.
ahs.
We're back performing live. It's so exciting. So everybody, if you're watching, welcome to Marching Arts Now. We're talking about WGI percussion tonight. And if you want, or if you're here and you're watching, please like so more people will see this. And also put in the comments where you're watching from. And if you have any questions for me or Laura, as I said, Dawson's going to be here to talk about some shows a little bit later on. But the next thing that's going to happen is Shane Gualtney from Music City Mystique. I had a conversation with him this morning about their season. He talks a little bit about the show and about what it's like to have an independent world-class group out there this season and everything that's happening. So let's watch that interview next. Synced up designs, music chunks. Shane, you're taking over the world of music and percussion, man. I think you're doing great work.
Thanks, Tim. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. So we're here to talk about the winter season. It's happening again. How's everybody feeling about it? At least, we're having a season.
Man, Mystique show's called Come Hell or High Water, and that's what we're doing. Like by any means necessary, we're making this season happen, man. So, for sure.
Fantastic. How does it feel to be back together and in the gym and back to a more normal season?
Man, it's the first time we pulled vinyl out was just like, like and the fresh new vinyl in a gym floor. It takes you back, to all the good reasons that we do it. We were active last year during COVID, but we weren't in a real gym. We kind of did our light production, which was really great, and it really set us up for success for what we're doing this year. But yeah, to be able to do a traditional show again and kind of get back on the court has been great for the staff and awesome for the members, and definitely great for the organization. It's awesome.
Yeah, you guys did such a very cool thing last season. I loved seeing about that. So congrats on making that happen and keeping your students engaged. Just wanted to ask you, there are challenges to getting back and running. So I don't know if there's post-COVID challenges or still COVID challenges, or particularly, are there challenges around having a year off on the court?
Yes. On an independent level with Mystique, for sure. I mean, like I said, we were able to do something the previous year where some groups weren't. So we're able to kind of move forward and, with the momentum that we had. I think the biggest challenge, honestly, with independent groups are going to be is the year after, because this year everybody has 3 years worth of age outs, because you've got the bonus year, you've got whatever, we got people that are marching 24-year-olds, what I'm saying, in percussion. And when they all age out, it's not just one age out section. You're talking about the real age outs this year, plus the ones from last year, plus the ones from 2020. So like if groups aren't planning on how they're going to grow their organization in the future, this could be, a bad one for a lot of people. So a lot of people are putting a lot of stuff on the floor. It's kind of going for broke, what I'm saying, because they got the players, they've got the people. So I think independent world is going to be a really, really interesting year with just a lot of angst. A lot of people want to kind of get out there and do their thing. So I'm really excited about that. That's a challenge that we're trying to prevent from next year. What I'm saying? But it's definitely something we're enjoying this year with that. On a high school level, it's just it's stamina. It's just getting their ears dialed back into playing in a gym. Especially for the people on the East Coast or in the North that have to deal with weather. Like we don't have the luxury of just drumming outside whenever we want. So this is the first time a lot of the kids have been in boomy gyms in a while. It's just, it's just almost like starting over sometimes and kind of introducing it. The other thing that I found kind of difficult with my high school kids is we personally don't have any seniors. So we have a large junior class. Well, that junior class was freshmen when COVID happened. They didn't really get the full effect. And then last year we didn't do anything. And then so this year it's just like every kid, like, how do we pull a floor? It's everything. Like it's been kind of fun and kind of like, okay, let's go back and let's start over on the basics and don't assume they know anything, because they don't, and which has been, enlightening and rewarding at the same time. So it's been fun.
So can you tell me one of the things that's been enlightening about it?
When you've been doing a thing for 25 years, you just assume, or longer, but you just assume, because you're on this routine year after year after year, and you have students that teach other students, you develop a culture, right, and traditions and things like that. Well, when you have 1 or even 2 years out of that, and then you've got to restart again, you just kind of take for granted of the stuff that you've built for decades, and the skills that you just take for granted, that now you've got to like really kind of go back to square one on a lot of things. So I'm sure a lot of educators out there are realizing that, instead of starting at step 4 through 10 like they would do every year, they're having to go back and start at 0 and go up to 10, because they're not, because they would assume that, students and just the culture would at least get them to step 4, you know what I'm saying? And since a lot of people have missed some of that, it's been eye-opening on that level. Like, you go in, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Then you realize, like, no, we're going to do this back here a little bit further, kind of take a step back. So, yeah, to me, that's been the biggest, challenge, but it's still been rewarding.
Yeah, I've had some directors that had that experience this past fall, and they kind of found it kind of refreshing to sort of reboot. They found they could make some changes to their traditions and standard procedures.
Absolutely.
So there's an opportunity here too.
Oh, it's massive opportunities. And that's why I found that I enjoyed it. It's like, all those things that we've been kind of thought we were right about and doing along, this is a good opportunity to have a clean slate and start over. So that part I'm enjoying, and clearly, you've talking to people that are enjoying it also.
Absolutely. So what can you tell us? Can you tell us anything about Mystique's show?
Yeah. We want to be fun, like we read the room, over the past couple of years, and we, when a group's been around as long as we have, I'm not saying we get bored with indoor percussion, but when we design shows, we try to not design an indoor percussion show. Now, we perform and compete in an indoor percussion medium, right, in a competitive arena, but like where we're thinking about how we entertain people and the elements that we bring on the floor, we really try to think outside the box a little bit. And this year, just there's no exception. We're just reading the room and just trying to figure out, like, what do we need to do to make people feel like they're not watching another drumline show or the same one they would have watched in 2020. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we move the activity forward in our own way and our own vision and still entertain people? And so we've been kicking around the show for actually about 5 years. We just haven't had the right time to put it out, or we weren't in the right state of mind, or whatever it was. Or maybe we just ran out of ideas this year and fell back on the one we've been kicking around for 5 years. I don't know, but it's been killer. Long story short, it's we're doing bluegrass, some gospel stuff. We're doing basically a tent revival, traveling kind of, it's not a religious show, but we use that kind of like the energy from like a Southern travel and tent revival. So, and for those people that don't know what that is, back in the day, they would have, basically a circus come into town and set up and then come preach the good word from town to town and set up tents and jubilation and that kind of stuff. So it's been fun. We've taken that approach to it, and it's just been entertaining, high energy, and fun. And it's definitely something different than we've done in the past. So, yeah, man, I'm just excited to get it in front of more people.
And I have to tell you, Shane, I love that you and your team are really brave that way, like taking risks and trying something really different that you haven't done. Of course, you have such a history of success that maybe it's a little bit different for you guys, but still, you're saying, let's try this crazy idea over here. Let's go out on a limb. There's some risk there. It takes a little bit of bravery.
It does at times, but there's places where you can take the bravery. It's like when you're one of the top groups, you can kind of help lead that. Or if you're one of the bottom groups, you can actually do the same thing because you don't have anything to lose, right? So there's those two different instances where I feel like you can kind of like really stretch out and do what you need to do with it. But yeah, it's rewarding to be able to do that, but we just produce on our end at Mystique. We're not teaching kids where fulcrums are and scales. It's like we're past all that. Like most independent groups, like we're able to kind of go in there and produce and kind of create something that we all would want to march. Like that's the whole thing, is like we want to. I know that's what keeps me motivated, is like I always want to create shows that I would want to do in my much more physical days when I could go out there and do it. But yeah, that's the intent, is be able to kind of do that stuff to where the staff enjoys it, the members enjoy it, the crowd enjoys it because they know everybody else is enjoying it. I mean, that's really our ultimate goal.
I love that. The way I kind of do it as a designer these days is I always think it's a show I want to see. Is this a show I would want to sit in the stands and watch? I love that context of also with a show, of course, I'd want to be in and get to perform. I love that piece of it too. Shane, you guys are doing great work. Good luck this season with all your groups, including at Mystique. I can't wait to see that show.
Appreciate it.
All right, so boy, was that fun. That was a conversation I had earlier today with Shane Gualtney of Music City Mystique. So excited that the season is underway and that they are talking about it. And I'm going to bring Dawson Leffingwell in here as well. So Dawson, I want you and Laura what do you have to say about it? Anything that he said resonate with either one of you?
Something that really resonated with me is just pushing the innovation in the activity. I feel that that's something that United Percussion, specifically this year, is gearing toward, just bringing a new experience to the audience, to the judges, and to the performers.
Yeah. I like what he said about teaching like the very basics, like how to pull a floor. Like, first of all, again, WGI is back. That's great to be cool and be awesome. A lot of people that are younger are seeing this for the first time. They've seen videos before from like 2019 and 2020-ish, but this is the first time maybe seeing it live in person. These kids are like, oh, I want to go do this. And now they kind of know what it entails now. So it's very important that, they can see these things in person. So it's very cool it's cool that they get to see it in person, and it's important that they understand like every group is starting from the beginning. It's like in some way or shape or form.
Absolutely. So everybody, thanks for watching. If you're watching this live, please comment in the comments. Let us know where you're from and if you have any questions for anybody here. We're going to be showing some clips now of some different shows that we like, and we're going to be talking about them. And we're just excited that the WGI percussion season is happening. Of course, Laura Zakazenski is here as our percussion guru on the panel. And Dawson, we reached out and said, hey, is anybody out there seeing some shows and have some shows you'd like him to talk about it? And thank you for responding to that. So Dawson, tell everybody who you are.
Hi, so my name is Dawson Leffingwell. I am currently a band director down in Goliad, Texas. I teach percussion and low brass at the middle school, and I teach high school drumline, obviously. I got my degree from Oklahoma State University. Go Pokes. I marched Compass Drum Corps this last summer, and I marched 4 years of Winter Guard with Resistance Indoor in Tulsa. So that's my biggest thing. Is I'm fresh out of college. I love, I did indoor, so this is very close to my heart, and I miss it, quite frankly.
Awesome. Well, we've all missed it, and we're so excited that it's back.
Yeah.
So we have our first clip is from George Mason University. Dawson, you said you really liked this group. You want to set up this clip? Tell us what you liked about this.
Yeah. Before I do that, I do have some general statements about WGI, if that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So again, it's back. Thank goodness it's going to be back. I've missed cymbal lines. I've missed watching people run around at 200 BPM. That's always fun to watch. And I've noticed that masks are a huge deal. Not like an issue, but they're just very important, because now that we're performing, we've lost half our face to a mask. So the visual program of your show is that much more important now, because you've lost, again, half the face. So how do you convey these emotions, these concepts, without half your face? It involves body movement. It involves embodying the music, all these couple things. So with George Mason, I like them. I got my notes right here on the side. George Mason is great. Their show seems very ethereal. I couldn't find a show title in the 48 hours I had to get ready for this, because I'm teaching also. But they have this front uniform. It's like a off-white kind of gray looking thing, and the back is blue. And I love those double-sided uniforms because it's easy staging, right? You have the snare drums playing the feature, and they turn around, and then the quads play a feature, and they turn around, and then it's pit feature. So those easy moments of okay, now highlight this section, and now highlight this section. It's super easy. I love that. Some of this will make sense when you watch the clip. So go ahead and pull that up. Now that'd be
No, let's watch the clip, and then we can talk some more about it afterwards. Dawson, nobody begrudges you having a job and having a life and not being able to research drum lines all day, every day to get ready for this.
I would.
I know. Wouldn't that be awesome? But anyway, everybody, let's watch a clip from George Mason University. All right. So, of course, we're not seeing them on the floor. It's live, so we didn't get to see the entire effect of it, but we did get to see the front ensemble turn around, see the back of the uniform. Very cool.
Super cool. Their quads, first of all, just stupid good. Also, the mask thing. So if you look at groups like, I think, Pulse Open World, they just have black masks, which is, they have, which is great. But George Mason, they had the front uniform on the mask. So the mask is actually great because it helps some groups, if they choose to use it, they can utilize, the aesthetic of the uniform. And in that same sense, I think we'll get to that with Redline. So I'll save that for later, actually. So, sorry, brain is mush. If you saw it, if you heard it, if it sounded well in the recording, the quads hit the rim a lot, intentionally, on the drum 4. And indoor is great because it allows us as percussionists to use timbres that we couldn't normally hear in marching band and drum corps, like the stick clicks, the rim, the drum shell, all these things. So there's a little bit more musicality we can have in these small, nuanced environments. So,
yeah, very cool. Hey, everybody, if you're watching, we're just marching arts now. We're talking about WGI percussion. Laura, do you want to speak at all about the mask thing or about anything else about that?
Yeah, I was surprised when we went to our first Trumbull Regional. We got the note from the school that we were allowed to take the masks off right before we performed and put them on right after. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I need to think about what I'm doing with my face because I have not been thinking about that this whole time. And it felt so much more different because I marched drum corps this past summer. It's a much bigger environment. Indoor is such a smaller, more intimate environment. The crowd's right in front of you. And it really gave me the opportunity to connect with multiple different audience members in front of me, which was a very great experience. And going along with the different timbres that you hear in these ensembles, the intimate environment, especially in a front ensemble, we get to really play around with touch on the boards, making these very soft, warm, delicate sounds that you hear in marimba solo literature and everything. We are playing an arrangement of Adagio for Strings by Samuel Barber, which is just such a beautiful piece. And we're really able to add a lot of musicality to it just by being in that intimate environment.
I agree. It's a much more intimate environment. There's only so much you can do with half the time of a drum corps show in 6 minutes. And so everything you do, like the uniform, the costumes, I just said that twice in a row, the floor, the props, has to be everyone's on the same page the whole time because it's very people either get it or they don't. So it relies a lot on the performers. And I've seen that a lot more now this year, especially because, again, you lost half the face. How do you convey these things without gritting your teeth and you take your tongue out? How do you do those things without doing those things?
Yeah.
I love it. So you mentioned Redline Percussion in passing. That's our next clip. Everybody, we're watching clips from WGI Percussion. Dawson Leffingwell is here with some of his favorite groups. Why Redline? Why did you want to share them?
It's cool. From what I saw of, again, they don't have a show, they don't move around, but they do a full run of the show. There's no floor, there's no drill, but there's choreography. But based on the sound they have and the uniforms and the samples, I'm digging the show. And my comment about uniforms I had for Redline that I said earlier, uniforms now are becoming less uniform. They're fitting more of the aesthetic. So if you'll look at Redline, you'll see these people that have different things each uniform. So bass 1 might have a drop on the right leg. Snare drum 4 might have a left leg drop. The pit might not have a drop at all. They might have a chain on their arm or whatever. So I think it's important. I think that's great because they're not just a uniform. They're not just another person. They're a member of the ensemble and they are themselves. And that allows them, with the mask cutting off half their face again, it allows them to get further into the concept of, I'm performing the show. What am I feeling right now? And it just helps make each person feel a little more, individualistic about the show.
All right, let's watch some of the Redline Percussion. Here we go.
Like, come on, look at that. Get a load of that. But you see what I'm saying about the uniforms? Like, one person had this
Yeah.
one, that one different. Yeah, that's
Cool.
they end the show more that way because they're themselves. I love the pit in the low part of the marimba. I love hearing that. It's super cool. That's what got me on the like, oh, this should be a cool show. Like, I haven't heard a lot of low marimba in a show recently in indoor, so it's very cool to see that. There's not a whole lot I can talk about music wise because it's a boomy gym, and that's unfortunate. But you've done indoor. If you've done it, you've had a boomy gym run. So, I mean, take it what it is. So, from what I can hear and pick out from the recordings of the drum line and from the sounds of what I can hear, they sound pretty good for February.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's early season, and we're just talking about WGI Percussion. If you're watching this, please like so we can get more people to watch, and comment and let us know where you're watching from. Dawson, I think that's really interesting about the uniform thing as well, and I just cannot wait to see that show on the floor.
I'm looking forward to
its thing.
When I impulse buy my ticket to finals and fly up there. Not doing that. Definitely not doing that.
Okay. Laura, anything you want to say about Red Line before we move on?
I think that they're off to a great start. It's just all these big groups that have these huge productions. We just have to live it out in these small high school gyms for so long, and then we finally get our moment in Dayton where the actual full production makes a lot more sense just by having the space to perform it in. So
yeah,
excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about, we're talking WGI Percussion, everybody, and we're going to talk about Vista Murrieta. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
So why did you choose this show, Dawson?
I mean, I wanted to pick a high school that wasn't Chino Hills, just because I feel like they're the one that gets the recognition. But it's very important to recognize that not only is WGI independent back, but so is Scholastic, and there's a lot of gaps educationally. I've realized as a teacher now that we got to fill because a lot of my seventh graders in percussion were in they were at home for percussion class, so a lot of the fundamentals, the basics, are just gone. And that doesn't really affect, most of the kids at these bigger schools, but there's still a gap there. There's still things that they don't know how to do because they were at home for a year and a half or whatever, So that's the biggest thing there. And they don't have to be super flashy and like all the back sticks and the full gawk shots and whatever. Like, it's just good to hear kids play together again and just to see them, doing band again. It's really cool.
Absolutely. By the way, Dawson, your fan club is in here. We have one person that says, I played many, many years with Dawson Leffingwell in Oklahoma. And whoever that is, we're really sorry about that. And then, no, I'm just kidding. And then Paula is watching. It says from Dawson's hometown of Kingfisher, Oklahoma.
Hi, Mom.
That's your mom. Oh, you're awesome to be here watching. So let's watch a little bit of Vista Murrieta. right. So it's just great to see another great high school drum line that's really killing it already this year.
Yeah.
Laura, you want to say anything about that?
I just have such a huge level of respect for those kids. I mean, I was in indoor percussion all throughout high school, but it was not nearly at the level of world-class Scholastic. You know, the amount of dedication that they put in, both them and their educators, is just absolutely wonderful and worthwhile. It's really inspired me as an educator to one day maybe develop a program like that of my own or hop into one, help out with it. But the level of dedication and talent is just very, very admirable.
Yeah. That and the teachers too. Like, it's very cool that they get to do that because not every kid gets to do that in
Yeah.
high school. Like, I didn't get to do that until like my senior year, and I was in the pit my senior year at my indoor group, my first year.
Yeah.
It's just really cool to, for those kids to get that opportunity, because my kids now are telling me like, oh, we want to do winter guard. I'm like, hey, one step at a time, kiddos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a unique experience
It is,
too. I try and
yeah,
explain this to anyone. I'm like, yeah, we play percussion instruments in a gym, and we also are a character, and we tell a story. So it's it's
Yeah.
so hard to explain.
Drum corps is great because people just like stumble across it. Like, they just show up to a field one day and there's a whole band there just playing stuff. But like,
Yeah.
winter guard is much harder to conceptualize for people that don't do band.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, we run around in the gym, we play drums, and we like use our face to do emotions and stuff. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, it's like, no, man, it's really cool. And we go so hard to explain it, and they're just like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no one just goes into a gym and says, oh, cool, check out that drum line
Yeah.
over there. That's cool. No one does that.
Very interesting. So everybody, thanks for watching Marching Arts Now. We are live here on this broadcast with Dawson Leffingwell and Laura Zakazenski talking about WGI percussion. And I'm just going to play the next clip, which is from Motor City. So let's watch them. Simple line.
Yes, my favorite.
That's super cool.
I love
Dawson,
Simple
why'd you
Line.
choose this clip?
Well, first of all, I wanted to shout out the bass 5 from the video that I saw. He had no mallets the whole run through, so he just used his hands. That alone is the respect. So shout out Motor City bass 5 for doing that run without mallets. I just love the design. It seemed very cool. Like, they had a symbol feature and then like the finger symbols. If you heard it in the back of there, they had like the flexotones, cool. But in the back of that is why I chose the show, because there's an old YouTube video from like 10 years ago, something like that. But this guy made like a PVC keyboard, and he played a bunch of songs on it. Everyone's like, oh my God, he played the songs. And so like, it's like very Blue Man Group looking kind of thing. And they use those in the show. And like, a part of the show is they have this guy come out and they play this tube, and they make it longer and shorter, and they add a piece to it. It gets lower, and then it's like lower, it's like longer, and then shorter, and then piece goes up, and then it's higher, and whatever. And like, that is just super cool. Like, I love that. That's so cool. And I love that people are experimenting with these things, these instruments that we don't really use too often. Like, they're already there. Like, finger cymbals, a finger cymbal feature. Come on now.
Finger symbol
A
line.
flexitone feature. Like, half their show, like, they got it from like Ace Hardware, PVC, bam. There's the big coolest part of the show, and I love that. You don't have to get these giant like video screens or like giant tower props to be good. Just like, do something cool, man. I love that a lot. So
Yeah, I agree. It's such a great environment to explore with instruments that aren't normally in the activity. In 2020, United Percussion had a mini cajon line. They all bought all these mini cajones, and the snare drums had them based off of Ivan Trevino's Catching Shadows. And we kind of centered a feature around the cajon instrument, which is a really cool experience. Wish we could have put that out for the rest of the season.
Okay, and so now I'm not drummy, so and I am a music educator, and I do feel like I'm pretty smart, but I'm not sure what a cajon is. So why don't you fill me in? I can't be the only one watching that's not sure. Well, man, I probably am, but
It's that wooden box that you sit on and you can kind of do different drum beats on it. It kind of like has little rattles in it. You can get a lot of different sounds and textures just from one wooden box that you sit on. It's a pretty cool instrument.
They're very popular in like churches. Like if you go to any church in a bigger city that has like a praise band, they've got a cajon.
Yeah.
Some groups have like the full on drum set, which I did for several years. But some groups like they just want the cajon. It's this box you sit on, you play it. Everyone's got one. You think of it. It's honestly a great way for people that aren't percussionists to still get into it because you sit on it and you hit the box. That's all it is. There's no like.
okay.
I mean, there is something to it, but there's no need to that.
And see, and now that everyone, that's the educational portion of today's show where we talked about that. And I am now going to go try to Google cajon without Googling cajones. But anyway, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. We're moving on. This was really fun. Dawson, what I love about this is like your enthusiasm and excitement about this activity is so palpable. So thank you for sharing that with us tonight.
Oh, for sure. It's honestly half the reason that I chose what I did. I was going to be a computer scientist or like a game designer before I did my first year of indoor. And when my first year of indoor, again, I said I was in the front ensemble. I played rack. I was not very good. But we went out for prelims at the Nutter Center Arena in Kentucky. And like we did the run through and I was like, okay, I want to keep doing this. How do I do that? And it's honestly just been like, I wouldn't be who I am today without things I did in indoor and drum corps. And so all the educators that saw me do those things, thank you for getting me here. So I also wanted to say that on this live platform. So
it's very cool. It changed your life. It changed all of our lives, right? I mean, like being in this activity changed all of our lives, and we've missed it and we felt off. And so it's exciting that everybody's back on the floor. Everybody's finding really creative ways to make the season work. So Dawson, I'm going to send you back offline, but thank you so much for being here. You have one more thing you want to say?
I'm sorry, I forgot about it. Shout out Pulse Percussion for playing Latin Lover again. Yes, I missed that. I had to get that out of the way. I was so stoked when that came out that they're playing Latin Lover. If you don't know what it is, it's an old mid-2000s like drum corps lot cadence thing. It's just cool to see. So go watch the videos. Pulse Percussion, Latin Lover, very cool.
All right. Early 2000s. That's like really old school, says the guy that marched in 1980. But anyway, I didn't say that either. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Dawson, thank you, man. You were great.
Thank you.
So, Laura, man, the season is happening. We watched some clips. How do you feel after seeing these clips of Drumline happening?
I feel really excited. United Percussion is based out of New Jersey. We're kind of isolated in the top corner of the country. So we get to Dayton and we see all these groups that we haven't been able to see all season. And I just can't wait for that moment. I can't wait to get out to more regionals, see other high school and independent groups, and just enjoy the culture of being in person again.
Absolutely. So thank you, Laura Zakazenski, for being here as part of our team tonight. Listen, everybody, Marching Arts Now is a live event happening every Tuesday. You can find all of the episodes from this fall and this winter at the Marching Roundtable YouTube channel. They're also on our website at marchingartseducation.com. We will be here every week. Next week is Color Guard. The week after that, we'll be back to talk more percussion. We'll be alternating weeks all the way through the rest of the season. Laura, thank you for being here. By the way, if you're watching, everybody, and you weren't here at the beginning, the recording is going to be up. Go back to the beginning because you can see Laura. There's a clip of her performing with United Percussion. You want to make sure you catch that. And, of course, I had an interview earlier with Shane Gualtney of Music City Mystique. He talked about that show. So go back and watch the whole thing. If you thought this was fun and you thought it was helpful or entertaining or anything, tell a friend about it. Let them watch too. We're trying to get the word out. And especially if you're attending a regional and you're going to be seeing some shows and you want to come on like Dawson and be a rock star and sort of talk about shows with us, please let us know. You can reach us on all the socials. And also, if you are a group and you have a great story or you want to have something you want to tell us about your season, we want to hear from you too. You can reach out to me at the Marching Roundtable. You can reach out to Jeremy Williams at Guard Closet. You can go to the Instagram for all of these different things. Laura, anything you want to say before we hang up for the night?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just super excited for the season, super excited to be back in person, and I'm really excited to see all these other groups and what they're putting out, while furthering myself and my education and everything. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And listen, everybody, we have a lot of great guests lined up. Thanks again to Shane Gualtney from Music City Mystique. Thanks to Dawson Leffingwell for being here as our special commentator and bringing some great shows. Laura, I look forward to seeing you the next time we talk about percussion.
Absolutely.
And thanks everybody for watching. Hope you really enjoyed it. Marching Arts Now. You had a great time. Everybody have a wonderful evening.